Going on, you in the field with the track stars, Ryan Righteous, Sean Tanner, DJ Jeremiah. We got Mike Mack in the building. How you doing, sir?
Chill. Beautiful.
Mike Mack.
Yes,
Beautiful.
sir. Yes, sir.
What was that?
I don't know, bro. Just, 'cause we're always silly on the phone.
Machiavelli.
We're always silly on the phone. That's why I'm just like, this is more of a conversation than an interview. You know?
Yeah, let's have a conversation. Yeah.
Yeah.
How you been, man?
Beautiful, bro. I'm a little tired. Flavor Fest, very active. Early flights, late nights, but we here. We having a good time.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So who you been working with? I saw you get your list together.
Oh, yeah.
Who you been working with, man?
Oh wow.
I'll pull up the list so we don't make
Yeah.
no mistakes.
Yeah.
On the bookings, still primarily doing booking, working with Ty Brazel, Stephen Malcolm,
Okay.
John Keefe, Derek Minor, Cannon, Scooty, not Clyde, Miles, sometimes Anike, Portia, Esso, Mike Teasy, primarily doing their booking.
Wow.
And then, helping other conferences and events. So typically end up intersecting and booking other artists in the space.
Yeah.
So like, for instance, Transformation Conference, I helped book Andy Mineo and KB and Cray. And so, yeah, just building out the culture, doing whatever I can to add infrastructure. That's what we lack out here.
Let's say there's an artist that feels slighted by the culture. What would you say to help them get to the place where they're able to be booked by
Yeah.
somebody like you?
Yeah, you just got to get to the place where either people are checking for you because they really want to see you live somewhere, and they're willing to bring you out, or you just be dope and pop up and open up at another event, just find friends and opportunities and be dope and have people see you and say, wow, that's amazing, see your live performance and want to see it again, or you bet on yourself and you start building your own shows out. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
How do you do that? Like I remember, like years ago we had Kelly Cole, and he kind of broke down how you can do your own tour and like
Yeah.
spots and all this other stuff. How could you tell somebody from your perspective? How can you tell an artist like, yo, book your own tour? How does that look like?
Yeah, I would say if you're starting off, you might not necessarily be looking to book your own tour, but maybe to demonstrate your value really in your own territory geographically. So if you're from Atlanta, you want to get to this place in Atlanta where you're like, yo, I'm doing a show, and 50 people will show up for you.
Right.
If you go in your own city and you're like, I'm doing a show, pop out, and nobody comes, you probably shouldn't go on tour and have that same experience in Chicago and Dallas, right? You want to keep working on your home city until you get to the point where, like, man, people are beating down the walls. So, I mean, Miles is a perfect example of that, right? Miles is like, I'm just going to kill the West Coast until the demand is so crazy that I can get 2,000 people in anywhere in the West. And then that should lead to you being able to stretch it out a little bit and get, more areas like Colorado and Arizona and expand. But you got to own your own geographical territory first. That's what I did in Boston. I did shows in Boston until the demand got really, really strong. And then I started bringing people in and building those out. But if I do a show in Boston, I can say to myself, it doesn't matter who's going to come. I know I can get 100 people to show up.
Wow. You're the Don, though. You're the Don in Boston.
Don Cartagena.
I should be making a little bit more money from the
How did you get into being a booking agent? Because I think that's another thing. We kind of had a conversation with an artist here, and I said we need a lot more stuff. We have too many rappers, but we do need a lot more booking agents and stuff. But how did you get in that game?
Yeah, like I always say, I think rapping's easy. What y'all do is hard. What I do is hard. Booking shows and putting together tours and stuff like that and helping people make money. That stuff is actually challenging. And so I got started. First, I created a Christian clothing line a long time, 15, 20 years ago almost at this point. It was called Church Boy Clothing. And so it was for the urban demographic, and we would sell T-shirts at shows. Well, we're in the Northeast. It's not the Bible Belt, so there ain't no shows.
Wow.
Right? So what we did was we started building our own shows
Yeah.
in order to sell our clothes at those shows and create like a machine, to support itself and a little ecosystem. Then the show started to grow, and then we went from, having 10, 20 people, 50 people to 75 to 100 to 200.
Wow.
And so the shows are getting huge. Now national artists are coming into Boston to be a part of those shows. And as we're doing that, they would start to be like, well, you book these shows and do all this. Would you be able to help me like with my shows in other places? Like, cause I speak the language.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, I know exactly like what is required for you to do an event in another city.
Yeah.
And so actually Derek Minor was the first one nationally that was like, I met him and Doc. I had popped up on Doc like 3 or 4 times. I was like, yo, I want to work with y'all. I
Yeah.
popped up at his South by Southwest event
Yeah.
that he did it in Austin, like the first one. We had the big club at Billy's Bar or something like that.
Yeah.
And I just showed up. I was like, yo, I want to help. I showed up. He put me on the stage to help with the stage work. And by the end of the show, I was like running the show. Like I had the
remember that.
contact. I had the contact list.
Yeah, the headphones on, everything.
Everything. I'm running the show. So when it's done, they like, dang, we need this dude on the team.
Yeah.
Derek was like, does he do booking for other stuff? And I was like, yeah, I can. And so I started with Derek, and then obviously took on Cannon, and then just did all of RMG's booking for all their artists, and obviously Amplify, they work with a lot of people.
Right.
And then it just started building that out over time like that to get to the point where it's like 10, 15 artists.
It sounds hard because it's like you don't necessarily know where to start.
Yeah.
Like somebody sits down, if an artist comes to you, not you particularly, but just anybody starting off and says, hey, book me. You're like, well, what do I do? Do I reach out to churches? Do I reach out to universities? Where do I go from there? Like, what was your, I don't know if you want to give it the blueprint, but what was your starting off point where you were like, oh, okay, I think I can, God has graced me to do this?
Yeah, I don't really mind giving out the blueprint because most people are lazy. They're not going to do nothing with it anyway. So to start off, typically, I don't give away the whole sauce. Honestly, somebody like, the reason why I'm good at it is because I started off with local artists who had no notoriety. And so it was completely based on my grind to get them into shows.
Wow.
Right? So I built my first tour with New England artists, all local artists that nobody knew. And I built an entire New England tour. And so we did like 15 to 20 dates off this tour because we did free shows everywhere. Christian artists hate free shows in service to the Lord. But so we would go to all these different churches and be like, yo, can we come to your church and your youth night, anything like that, and give y'all a free show? These 5 artists will come through and it'll be amazing. You won't have to do anything. You don't have to pay us. We can sell our merch. And if you feel like giving us a gift, amazing. Give us a gift.
Yeah.
So we popped out to small churches, big churches, medium churches.
That's good.
And we did this free tour. And then we culminated it with a club show. I rented out a venue. I brought those artists, and then I would start to bring in some other national artists. Like I think the first person I booked was like maybe Act Davis or like Angie Rose.
Activists. I remember
Yeah, Heesun Lee from New York.
Yeah.
Then I moved on. I got Social Club, like Social Club's first time traveling the Northeast. Like I was one of the first people to ever book them.
Wow.
I remember they told me I was the first person to ever put them on JetBlue.
Wow.
To put them in a hotel. I remember booking KB and getting them like a suite at the Marriott, and he was like, I've never experienced like this was fire.
Yeah.
And so just treating those artists good, but starting with the local artists, refining my craft till it got really excellent, and then doing it for national artists was my blueprint. Yeah. And then because I was able to sell dirt to the beach, now you giving me seashells, beautiful shell, like I'm getting Derek Miners and stuff. It's like,
it's easy.
yeah, I could sell Derek Miner. Like, come on, bro. This is like, you know, in his prime, yeah, I could push KB. Like, of course, because I've been doing it with people that nobody knows.
Yeah.
Now you give me a name. So now my thing is, I'm just reaching out to hundreds and hundreds of churches on my own. Yeah. Like, yo, would you like to book Derek Miner?
Cold calls.
Yo, cold calls. People don't want to cold call, bro. I will cold call a church. I'll cold call the church secretary. I'll send an email to their departments. I'll reach out to all these different churches and try to plug my artists in when nobody knew them. So then when it was artists that people knew, it felt almost easy. It's like a layup then.
Yeah.
I think that was smart what you did, because once you establish that trust and that relationship with that church or that venue, that you're going to bring out a quality show, even when you did the ones for free at first. Now they said last time he came for free. So like you said, now when I come with some artists that are on a different level, I hate to say different level, but you know what I mean? Like they're more notable.
Notoriety.
Yeah, it's easy to push it. I remember when me and Young Noah, we did a tour. We charged $500 flat rate.
I remember.
Yeah. We did $500 flat rate. And we ended up doing like 80 shows a year. People like, man, how did y'all afford it? All you do is you book it geographically. Like, we're going to be in Dallas. We're going to do a show in Houston. We're going to do a show in San Antonio. Like, and we drove everywhere.
Wow.
You know, so you do that. But we had the price so low to the point where they were like, we can't refuse it. To the point where the next time we went around, the price tag was a little bit different because we had proved that, hey, we will come out here and give you something that will be
your show's quality. Now you can go from 500 to 1,000. It doesn't feel crazy. And people, they like you now that they've seen you, they've met you, they know you're a good person. Unless you're a jerk and your show's not good anyway. And then you find out the hard way, like they don't want to bring you back.
Wow.
But the problem with our space, and I'm gonna make a very blanket problem with our space statement for a hot take. The problem with our space is people come into our space, they can blow up so fast that they immediately think that they're supposed to get paid a lot. As soon as you pop into our space, because you can get 100,000 listeners on Spotify in the Christian market super easy by making a corny, regular church jump up and down song, you feel like instantly like I'm supposed to get a check.
It don't translate.
So for our space, people go from 0 to 2,500 for a show way too fast. Where in a secular space, that doesn't happen. You go year forever. And secular artists don't even do pop-up shows like we do. We're the most spoiled space and industry where you can just show up. I got dudes that I know their numbers now. They have 80,000 listeners on Spotify. I can get them 3 bands. I'm part of the problem. I can get them 3 Gs.
Wow.
I know the churches that'll be like, because churches are like, they hit me up and they say, Mike, I'm looking for an artist. I can give them 10 names. They probably won't even know who the 10 people are.
Wow.
But they'll give me $3,000 for them.
Wow.
I'd be like, yo, I got this guy. I'd be like, whatever.
And that's based off your relationship.
They
My
trust
relationship, me knowing their budget, them knowing that I'm gonna bring somebody solid, festivals and stuff. I get 20 inquiries a year. That can be anybody.
Wow.
So how do you feel dealing with all the different artists and personalities? Like, do you keep an arm's length from them, or are you talking to their management? Because booking management versus being a manager is different. So are you talking with the artist directly and dealing with the headaches that they come with because they got writers and they got requests, or are you dealing with managers who you're like, okay, here's the deal, we know what the situation is, let's talk about it. Boom.
It's mostly artist direct. I'm dealing mostly artist direct. Yeah, even up to like KB. Like if there's an opportunity for KB, I'm like text him directly.
Yeah.
I'm not his contracted agent. Like if I'm working with him on something, I'll send it to him. Then maybe he'll have me go to his booking agency and like finish it off. Same thing. Like only person that I don't do something like that is really like Cray. Like I'll go directly to Cray's management and say, hey, this opportunity's here. Like, do y'all want to do this or not? It might never talk to. Like I've booked like 2 Cray shows where he doesn't even know that it was me like involved. You know what I mean? Where like it doesn't like I help me get a bag and they have no idea.
Yeah.
But like typically it's I work directly with the artist. For everybody that I listed off the names earlier that I do directly, I'm talking straight to them.
And
So like, what about the indie artists? Like you said, I can get an indie artist. Like in essence, you can get an indie artist hot. So how do you get somebody that, like you said, in Boston? Let's use Boston for example. Like how do you get that person to go from just killing Boston to now, like we were saying it earlier, I was like, back in the day, it used to be you start in your local area, then you get state, then you go regional, then you go national, and then you go international, right? Yeah. Now people are just skipping it because of the internet, and you go from making a song and the song is hot, and now you're an international star or whatever because they're playing your song in Brazil, or they play whatever. But how do you break an indie artist that nobody's never heard? That, you know what I mean? What is something that as a booker that be like, yo, because that's very confident to say I could book people that y'all never heard and they could be good. Like, how do you do that for somebody who wants to be a booking agent?
For somebody who wants to be an agent or somebody who wants to be an artist?
But from the agent and for an artist, like how do you do that? You know what I mean?
To get an artist exposure that they normally wouldn't have, you probably want to try to like get onto a tour.
Yeah.
Be one easy option. Buy in. Artists feel like it doesn't make sense to buy into a tour. It does make sense to buy into a tour as long as the fit is right. So if you're a young female urban artist and you're like, I want to hop in on somebody's tour, you know, I'm like, yeah, if Anike is going on tour, like it might be good for you to buy into that, get in front of her audience because maybe I'll have intersecting audiences.
Yeah.
You want to make sure she's not opening for Mac Miller or something like, you know what I mean? Something random where it's not going to have any value that correlates. Right. But you want to find people that are like your algorithmic style and open up for them and get on some of their stuff. Or if they're just doing shows in another area, there's every once in a while there's an opportunity for you to say, hey, are you looking for an opener in this city? Like that's why the local noise is very important, because if you're killing in Denver, right? Yeah. When somebody comes to Denver for their show, most likely they're looking for an opener in Denver. Yeah. And they can say, who's cooking in Denver? You can be like, oh, this guy. Yeah. And so you might say, yeah, I'll definitely open for you in Denver. But when you go to Dallas, can you bring me to give me that value back? And then you can get in front of the Dallas crowd.
Yeah, we started in Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida. Yeah. Then I was in Texas so much, people thought I was from Texas. That's how it works. You just work your way out.
You just spread it out slowly. But the problem with the viral sensations and the stuff that goes super fast is they don't typically have that infrastructure. So what's happening with all these TikTok artists and stuff like that is they're blowing up and it looks super dope, and then you throw them on a stage and they're terrible. They don't know what to do. Or if something is not perfect in the set, they have no idea. You give me somebody like Anike or Derek who's been touring for years and years and years, or Aaron Cole, right? Yeah. We're pretty sure, and we've probably seen it, if you put Aaron Cole in front of 2,000 people in a stadium, he's got his band, all of a sudden all the power cuts out. I guarantee Aaron Cole can still give you 30 minutes.
Oh, yeah. Easy.
I guarantee you he will, and it'll be hard. Yeah. And there's people who got everything, and it's terrible. Yeah. You know, and if their acoustic guitar don't plug in, they are absolutely lost. Yeah. And they're terrified, and they just sit there. And so it's a disservice to not have built up those reps
Takes
Right.
experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it's like a really, really good high school player, and you throw him in the league. It's gonna take him a year, like unless you're one of those ones like Braun and not even I can't even say Kobe because Kobe wasn't tough in his first year.
Yeah.
But like you take one of those people and you throw him in that situation, like so much adaptation. But that's what college is for.
Yeah.
You go to college, you get a little bit more experience. You play overseas, you get a little bit more experience. You get to the league, you ready.
I got an artist I know. You know him. So I'm gonna talk to you after this over, man, because he be self sabotaging himself.
Say the name.
Huh? He's super dope,
Just say
man.
the name.
You know him too, man.
Yeah.
My dog T Strike, man.
T Strike. So
Oh,
T Strike
yeah.
came to Elevation, my conference that I do in Boston this year,
Mm-hmm.
and he won our artist contest,
Yeah.
our artist feedback contest. And so I haven't seen his full set, and so I don't
It's
know what his
crazy,
full
bro.
set looks like.
This me, bro. I'm telling you, his full set is crazy. His music on the album and CD sound good, but his live set, bro, like it's different, bro.
You gotta catch up.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
And he'll sabotage. I hope you listen to this. He self-sabotage himself, man. Like one of the more talented, anointed dudes I know. Love the Lord. Like passionate about what he's doing. Talented, bro.
He's super versatile with the sounds. Got a bunch of
Man,
different sounds
bro.
he be sending to me.
But he just be second guessing himself so much, man. I gotta get with you, man. We gotta see what we can do. Man.
So what about like for what's going on now? Like, so, you know, of course in mainstream hip hop, female rappers are killing it. So is it hard to book female artists, especially in those CCM spaces, or are they open to that,
Yeah.
or what do you?
I mean, churches adds like these like 3 extra layers of complexity because you go to some places and the only time you see a dress code rider is when you're booking a female artist,
Wow.
and they say, hey, make sure she's not wearing ripped jeans.
Well, we've
Make
seen
sure,
that.
make sure her pants are not tight. Make sure she doesn't wear any skirts that are lower than her knees. And you get all these extra layers of complexity that you don't get with a guy.
Wow.
And then you got to make sure, like, there's a female driver. Some churches don't even have female drivers,
Wow.
like, to
Oh,
come
wow.
pick you up. Some churches just don't know how to treat women right because they already don't believe that women shouldn't be in the ministry in any form of fashion. So you get there and then you with a pastor and it's awkward and they don't really know how to treat you. So it's way more complex. Like off rip, and then for you to just throw you on a tour, it's hard to just throw a female on a tour.
Yeah.
That's how it's been when there's been 6 guys and you're on a tour bus and you're like, all right, we got one lady, and we don't want to let her bring nobody with her, but she gets a bunk.
Do you all have to do tour buses, or do you have other means?
Everybody's tour looks different, but I'm using tour bus as an example
Yeah.
of like what you kind of even hope to aspire for your tour to be at the point of
Yeah.
for it to be a tour.
We had a situation like that. We had a bus and we had bunks, and there was a young lady on the bus. It was just an awkward situation. It was just pulling up to a church, and they're like, "So she's on there with you guys?" You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
It's like the perception in their mind automatically they think you just wow.
you
feel me?
out of place. You're not supposed to be there. Like,
And the girl that was on the bus though, her dad was the bus driver, but they don't care. All they see is, to be real, 6 black guys and a white girl on the bus. It just, you know what I'm saying?
now
It's
pull
like-
up in
Like,
pull up
oh,
in Mississippi.
now I get it.
Yeah.
pull up in Mississippi somewhere,
Right.
and she's
That's
in the
that.
front, and she gets out first, and y'all got the flags waving like, yo, that's not gonna look good.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
that's that casting.
Can you
making a
remind
movie.
me? Can you remind me again of what is the purpose of churches booking the artists? Do they tell you why they're doing it? Is it? I'm assuming it's they want their youth to be at an event where they can then tell them about Jesus. So you get them excited, then tell them about Jesus. Is that what their goal is, or is this just? Why are they doing this? Why are they spending the money on this?
Like, is it just entertainment?
Yeah.
So, some churches are looking for music ministers. Like they are like, man, can you come in and do 3 songs and then speak for like 10 minutes and like have some combination of that? But you know, there's just a plethora of like, some of them are like, don't talk. You're here to rap. Get off the stage afterwards.
Yeah.
2 songs, get off the stage. Some are like,
we don't
yo,
trust
wa-
what you're gonna say.
Yeah, some of them we want you to minister. Some of them they're like, yo, we do not want you to talk.
Wow.
Like, please, we do not trust
And they'll
that you can
tell you
even.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were like, bro, they don't believe half the time that these dudes can actually articulate the gospel, and so they don't even want you to attempt
Without
it.
telling the truth earlier.
Yeah.
So
They're
what's,
like,
the, what's the purpose then? What is their actual motivation then?
I think 50% I'll say 50% of the time it's entertainment.
Wow.
It's a halftime show. It's an after party. It's a pre-party. It's rare. It's not as often a major church conference, and the keynote speaker section is for a hip hop artist. That's typically not what it is. it's typically just a little entertainment slice that you add in before or after.
Man, so do the money, is the money like, how do you decide who to give something to? Is it just based off of like, yo, I think Fu would be good on this, I think Anike would be good on this, or whoever you're working with, but like, do people got that request in their form so hard that it's like, this sounds like 1K, let me give that to him, you know what I'm saying, versus like, this sounds like my man, let me try him, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so if Anike does 20 shows in a year, right, she probably got 10 that came in saying, let me get Anike. She probably got 5 where it was her price range, and then she got 5 more where I set it up for her.
Wow.
I make it happen.
Wow.
And so sometimes the price range thing is like we'll say like Dylan Hovey the same price, right?
Yeah.
We'll say Dylan Hovey the same price, and we'll send them both and say, well, these are the 2 artists that you can get for this price range, and we'll say which one would you like to book? And so and then we let the management choose that at the church.
Got you.
If somebody's like on tour or in a season where they're like, I need shows right now, like we take that stuff into consideration.
Yeah.
Somebody's album's about to drop, we're like, yo, I need a focus right now for these 3 months or something like that. Like those are things we take in consideration. A lot of times it's based on price. It's based on the church. Sometimes I got to look at the church and be like, I'm not sending Few there. You know, like this one is for you, fam, over here. Like this like is a fit better for you.
Can you tell when somebody's gonna be good? Like, what are you looking for when you start working with, let's say, a new artist that's maybe unfamiliar to you? How can you tell that they're gonna be a hit later on?
It's rare that I think I've been in the game for so long that I can tell. I can see star power from across the street.
Wow.
Like I know I've broken so many artists quietly. Like they come to the conference because I do an A&R show every year.
Yeah.
Wow.
So every year I'm A&R in 40 to 50 artists in Elevation.
Oh, wow.
At the plug. And I've been doing that for, I think it's like 7 or 8 years now.
Yeah.
And so I have them come and they play their music, and sometimes they will perform, and I do a lot of openers. And so I'm seeing people's personality traits. I'm seeing what their energy is like. I'm seeing what their live performance is like very early on. So I get a really good glimpse at it. And so I feel like I've got a really good eye now. And so I have resulted in probably like 10 artists getting signed or getting discovered or coming in at the fringe of their career in front of labels and getting picked up by labels that a lot of people don't know, and that I don't even care to brag about or anything like that. But just this last year, an artist that was at the conference got signed to a record deal.
Wow.
Probably due to, in part to the conference. The year before that, someone did for sure. The year before that, someone did for sure. And we at least give away a distribution deal. So we know we've given Trackstarz distribution deals almost like I don't know how many times, 3 or 4 times.
Now.
Yeah. So I have the opportunity to just be in front of them and see tons and tons of artists, and I stay with my feet on the ground, and I'm always looking and checking for them. So
what are some of the common traits then that you've noticed?
I look for hard workers. I want the people. First of all, if you're gonna fly to Boston just to do an A&R contest,
That shows you something.
already respect, right? Because that's how I got my star. I flew everywhere, met every executive I could, met every artist I could. So if you're willing to fly up to the city, just for that, like, all right, I already see that you're willing to invest at least in yourself.
Yeah.
And then as soon as people get on stage, you can almost tell if they're good or not, right? As soon as they start their set, how they carry themselves, what their confidence level is, how they can navigate a stage. Perfect example is like Lil Luke. Luke is 8 years old. I thought he had the best performance at Flavor Fest last year. I ain't gonna lie. I thought like Miles Minnick was crazy. Obviously, Social Club was the other headliner, and then I thought the next best performer was Lil Luke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Control, cadence, delivery, energy, confidence, like all of that through the roof. And then we're looking at all these other artists, and most of them they're fresh, like they just getting started. They don't, they don't see. One person I met Anike when she was like, I think she was 19. She was like in college. She was like a sophomore in college. And I met her at Legacy, and she was just walking around passing out cards with QR codes in the back before this was like crazy, right?
Yeah.
Back at Legacy, she's passing those out, walking around. Hi, my name is at the time Wande. I'm an artist. I work for Rapzilla as an intern. I was like, you're gonna be fine. I was like, you're absolutely gonna.
How could you tell?
She was confident enough to do it. I just felt it I just felt the energy. Like I just felt her confidence. I felt that she's a go-getter. Like you're at this conference, you out here walking around passing out cards at that age, already an intern at Rapzilla, already trying to push your music. Your music wasn't even great yet, but that wasn't even the point. It was just like, man, you're grinding.
I saw one of her first performances at South by Southwest at the Kingdom Experience.
Yeah, the Kingdom.
She was with Erica Mason, I think, and she performed. And like when she performed, everybody just looked like Erica was supposed to be like the person they came to see, but when she did her song, like people in the crowd were looking like. Like she got something. Like she gonna.
Yeah. It's so funny about our spaces. Like we've seen people go from you have some people that go from 0 to 100, but then you also have people that slow grind. Yeah. And it's so great to see the slow grind people. Because to me, I feel like the 0 to 100 people, they get it, but then it could fall off or you don't hear about them again. But the slow grind people, that takes effort, that takes discipline, that takes character. And to me, I'm like, yo, to see 1K when he was Future Kid to 1K now, when we went to, I remember an event we went to and he had like 30 people on stage with him. And I was like, who?
City Takers.
Well, yeah, I think it was City Takers. But I just remember that and I was like, first off, who is this kid? Because in my mind, I'm like, not that I didn't know who he was, but just the fact that he had a movement with him, like in Atlanta, and he was doing this on multiple stages. When every time I saw him, it wasn't like he was just had like a force behind him. And then I remember hearing about him like yo, he with Canton, and then I heard that he got to deal with Lecrae, and I was like, oh, that's crazy. And like to me, he's one of those bridges that bridges gospel music to Christian hip hop very well.
He's a super hard worker.
Yeah, he's a hard
another
worker.
example. Of, he's just a super hard. The guy, the people that we see in our space who are just like doing really well. What people don't see is that they just work incredibly hard.
Mike Teezy's a worker.
Mike Teezy works hard. When he showed me his merch stand yesterday, he's like, oh, and I did all this myself. Yeah. He's like, I did these hats. Like, I'm the one that put the vinyl on all these hats. All this stuff. I'm like, oh, I don't got that in me. That's crazy. Anike works hard. Anike's on all the calls. Anike's merch setup is crazy. I'm like lip gloss and she got eyelashes. I'll be like, dang, girl. Dill works tirelessly, man. Dill just be grinding, bro. Like 45 different product offerings. I'm like, I don't know how y'all do that stuff.
So you think it could be taught, or do you think there's something just innate about them that makes them that way?
No, grind hunger, I think that's pretty innate. I think that's more nature over nurture. You can definitely get taught the game, but to be 17 years old and walk around in a conference and pass out 600 business cards, it's not natural. It's not normal. It's not normal. But then star power equity, like I remember I got a message where I hit Hovey 10 years ago after he put out some song, and I saw it and I was like, you're gonna be fire. And I hit him on Instagram. He had like 2,000 followers, and I was like, "You're gonna be fired." It was like, I don't know why, bro, but I can see it. Yeah. I tell you, I could just see it. And so I find these guys. A lot of people who come to the Elevation for Plug, a lot of them I DM. I'm like, yo, like I think you're tough. You should pull up. If I was you, I'd pull up. That's some people I'd love for you to meet. One of my boys just got signed to I can say this now. PB just signed a young dude named Jordan Richard to his label. I think it's Seal Creative. I forget what his imprint is called, but he just signed an artist to that. And that's like a Virgin imprint.
Wow.
And so that kid, again, I found him in New Hampshire. One day I just saw him. His boy was coming out. His boy's Gio. So Gio's an artist. He's doing really well. He's in Capitol.
Yeah. I know about him.
I helped break him.
Wow.
But so while I was helping him, he brought Jordan with him, and Jordan did like a song, and I was like, you got it, bro. You're tough.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna introduce you to people. Like come to the Plug this year. Put your hat in the ring. Like I think you could win. It's off of like one song, and he came through. He didn't want to come. Story is he didn't want to come. His mom forced him to come at the last minute. He came anyway. He met PB. He performed. PB saw it, and he was like, I think I want to sign this kid.
Wow.
I was like, I think you should. I think he's dope. Wow. And so he ended up getting signed off that.
Yeah.
Wow. And that's, again, it's another one where like he walks into the room. I'm like, you're an artist? He's like, yeah. I'm like, that. Yeah.
Wow.
I see something. Yeah. I see a little something, bro.
I think we forget that, and we had this conversation in our class yesterday, kind of, and talking about this is entertainment, bro. Like the aesthetics of an artist is kind of missing from here. Like, and what I mean aesthetics of an artist, meaning like you just said, somebody can walk in the room and you be like, that dude's an artist. Yeah. You know what I mean? You know, and then I think sometimes, and I'm going back to 1K, he treats that like he's an artist. Like when I see him, he went to Child Like CC. We did an event for her in Atlanta, and he walks out with like cowboy
he's different.
like
The
stuff
tassels,
on,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And I'm like, if I didn't know him, I'd be like, yo, is he an artist or something? Because he thinks like that. When I'm in public, I have to look like an artist, regardless if I'm performing or not. And I think a lot of people don't have that aesthetic of, you know, you see artists sometimes in our space, they look like they just got off work.
You cannot, and you talking about what you can teach and what you can't teach.
Yeah.
Star like trill star power, electricity, energy. You cannot teach that.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, there's certain people who walk in the room and you notice them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's other people who are trying their best to be noticed, and you're like, could you step to the side? Trying to see who's behind you. It's like, but certain people got that. And so again, what we have to attribute that to, if you have that, you have to attribute it to the Lord. Like the Lord gave you a gift of electricity and energy and power. Like in whatever you do with it or whatever, it doesn't matter. But like He anoints people with that gift to be.
But I think that's just the whole package of it though, because we're not trying to knock. I wasn't trying to knock nobody who like I said look like they get off work, but it's just the mentality of it.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like it's a mentality. No, I'm serious. It's a mentality because I think I'm saying this because I help people market stuff. So when I see
Packaging.
it's a package. So when you put it out to the world, it's not like you can tell when somebody is, yo, he is ready or she's ready to go. Like they out of here. Versus somebody who is like, they can have a great heart, they can love the Lord, they can do that, but they just don't know how to market themselves. Yeah. And aesthetics of an artist is how you market yourself without saying a word.
Yeah. And you can be dressed like, and this doesn't mean that you gotta be Gucci down or try to do what Fuse doing, because please don't try to do what Fuse doing.
Yeah.
But you could walk in and be lowly and still stand out.
Confident.
You still have energy, right? Like it's not about the regality of a Saul as compared to a David, because like Saul's appearance is what tricked everybody, right?
Yeah.
They saw him and they were like, whoa, like he must have it.
Yeah.
And he didn't have it.
Yeah.
And so what we find in our space and in music in general is sometimes you find people that have the it but don't got the grind, or you find like people at the grind and they don't got the it. And then every once in a while you get the magical combination of those two things, and that's when you get superstar.
We talked about a guy who he looks like an R&B singer, but his music is not that good.
Yeah.
And it's
Those make me sad.
Yeah, you see that. You see that all the time. People they'll have the appearance, but it just ain't in them.
Man, Mike.
Yeah,
I know every time we do this, I know people gonna come at you. I got the hard work. I got the it factor. How do I get on?
I'm unavailable. Hey, Trig, they can't afford it. Yeah, man, my email is trig@holyculture.
Trig Washington.
No. You find me on Instagram, I think. Yeah. Check Instagram _Mike_Mac. If you just put Mike space Mac, it'll pop up. I'll be the first one. But yeah, I mean, you only come to me if you want to hear the truth. So
That's
if
good.
your music is whack, I'm going to have to tell you your music is whack. If you come to me and say, how do I get more shows? And I look at your number and you got 60 followers, I'm going to say, you might want to get somebody who cares to see you. Like people want me to book them at shows and their mom won't even come see them.
Wow.
Like, what?
Wow.
My mother doesn't like Christian hip hop.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, yo,
That would've been my
convince your aunts and uncles to come see you, bro.
Yeah.
Your boys don't like your shows. Like,
Yeah.
your friends think your music is whack, but you want Mike Mac to come through and say and foster
That's
your
real.
career from
They want
nothing.
to skip that hard step.
Yeah,
They
nah,
just want to
man.
be a star right away.
If you can't do a show in your local city, I say this all the time. If you can't do a show in your local city and get 100 people to show up, keep grinding, bro. I'm not gonna say you're just not really ready yet.
Yeah.
100 people in your city, I can get 100 people to come to see my shows in Boston.
Wow.
I will not have to tell them what I am doing.
Wow.
I'm like, yo, I'm doing a show. Y'all want to be here? Pull up. I'm gonna get 75 to 100 people to show up.
Wow. That's dope.
Because that's what I did for a lot of artists who were on tour.
Yeah.
They come to Boston. They're like, yo, can you promote my show in the city? Like, I'm gonna get 100 people to show up for you.
Wow.
You got to build a tribe.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah.
You got to.
All right, sir. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom again with us,
Yeah.
man.
Yes, sir.
We
Appreciate
really
that.
appreciate it, man. All right, you in the field with the Trackstarz, Ryan Righteous, Sean Tanner, DJ Jeremiah. Let's go.
Plain James.
Yes, sir.